The most basic element of human driving is the use of senses to take in the world around you. Sight allows us to perceive depth and estimate distance without consciously thinking about it. This is done in the lateral geniculate nucleus of the brain through examining disparity between the semifields provided by each eye. Haptic feedback allows us to feel accelerating and cornering forces, as well as strain on the steering wheel during turns. Hearing allows us to recognize cars honking or an ambulance siren. According to an in-depth study led by John Groger at the University of Surrey, the process and speed of learning to drive involves a number of variables related in a power function. This function estimates the number of errors according to the asymptote of your performance curve, your first trial performance, amount of practice, prior experience, and your general rate of learning. Being a good driver does not mean simply being able to make extremely precise turns or shift gears efficiently. Driving is a combination of many elements, like recognizing patterns, being well versed in a large number of general driving situations, as well as the strength and accuracy of your mental representations. Through the process of learning to drive, we begin to develop a library of representations. Each person has some form of a representation of the road systems they've traveled on. The other main source of memory related to driving is the development of schemas for different driving situations, like merging, passing, or hectic traffic. The next important aspect of driving is attention. Beginner drivers need to be extremely alert and aware. As we become more experienced, our level of alertness becomes a variable included in the schemas we've developed for specific situations. For example, the schema we develop for stop-and-go traffic typically includes an indication that we need to pay very close attention, while the schema for driving on a deserted country road probably indicates that we can relax a little or put on cruise control. The final and most important piece of driving is decision-making. John Groger and his colleagues at the University of Surrey also developed a decision-making chart that follows a series of connections between decision nodes. This includes an awareness of change in your current goals, the ability to appraise a threat to the goals, a process that selects the most appropriate reaction to the threat, and a general response process that carries out the reaction and then attempts to maintain your goals. But of course, we are human, and any process of decision-making will inevitably include an element of error.
Every year, American drivers get into 10 million traffic accidents, and of these, an estimated 95% are caused by human error. According to CDC statistics, these accidents also cause $100 billion in damage and 40,000 deaths yearly. It is also the leading cause of death in the age group from 15 to 24. It is obvious that there is a lot of room for improvement in the driving process, and some people think that self-driving cars is the next step. There's a lot to be gained from self-driving cars. The main benefit is fewer accidents, leading to fewer fatalities and less money spent on damages. But some people also envision a world in which self-driving cars can make owning your own car obsolete. They foresee a future in which fleets of self-driving cars are available to taxi people around at their whim. This could lead to fewer cars on the road, less space needed for parking lots, and it could cut fuel usage by huge amounts. One of the biggest challenges in creating a self-driving car is giving the car a perception of its surroundings. A good way to do this is to use a LiDAR system. LiDAR stands for Light Detection and Ranging, and these systems can give cars 360-degree views of its surroundings that extend for hundreds of feet. Some current LiDAR systems are even good enough to allow a car to detect a 14-inch object from 160 feet away. Once the car has created this map of its surroundings, the next step is to detect obstacles. To do this, developers use a careful balance of rule-based systems mixed with neural networks. The rules serve as a base for what the basic obstacle looks like, and neural networks can be used to further teach the car to detect unusual objects. A team from Stanford reported using neural networks to build their self-driving car in the late 2000s. At first, 1 out of every 8 detections by their system was a false positive. But as they taught it, the error rate dropped to 1 in 50,000. This shows the true power of neural networks in this capacity. This process of taking a LiDAR image and detecting the obstacles in that image is happening constantly in the car. The car simply needs to detect its obstacles and cross-reference those representations with an internal map. At each cycle, the car uses this map to decide if it should speed up, slow down, turn left, or turn right. This means that the car is paying constant attention. If done perfectly, the car would be a much better driver than a person. Many cars today already use these systems for many self-driving features, such as self-parking, adaptive cruise control, lane keeping systems, and many other crash protection features. But what's next? Well, Nissan and Google have both released plans to have fully autonomous cars on the market by the year 2020. In the future, these self-driving cars may also distribute their cognition by communicating with each other on the road. The possibilities for this technology are huge, and if done properly, they could save thousands of lives yearly and change the world as we know it.